Here at Africa Pavilion at the Green Zone in COP27 at Sharm el-Sheikh, one of the key topics being discussed is the deficit in renewable investment and funding in Africa. We're joined by Hellen Labamba, the head of corporate and investment banking at Stanbic Zambia. Could you tell us what is Stanbic's current involvement in the renewable space in Zambia?
So we have quite a number of clients who have embarked already on the renewable landscape. So quite a number, I think I can point to quite a number of areas. So clients who are already involved in the renewable space, these clients range from mining companies right to industrial companies. So we've also been able to, on a number of occasions, hosted captive power workshops where we've brought parties together, the independent power providers, and most of them are renewable power providers, coming together with industry and stakeholders and government to see how we can advance the renewable energy agenda. With regards to partnerships, we're also partnering with agencies and companies that are already working in this field. So, for example, one of our great partnerships that I can speak to is Africa Green Co. Africa Green Co. Provides credit enhancement facilities to independent power providers who can then sell the power production into the grid, i.e. the country grid, or into the Southern African power pool. So our involvement with them, as well as partnering with them as a client, is also to partner on the reporting platform. So reporting platform called iMetric, on which we partner with them in terms of measuring what it is that we're doing with regards to renewable facilities that we will be embarking on with clients, what we're doing internally in managing our renewable energy usage as an organization, and I think what that does is it speaks to actually getting the data and measuring what we're saying we're going to be doing with regards to renewable energy.
Now, those are two wonderful things. One, the ability to be able to audit what is being actually done in terms of climate action in Africa, and the other being giving credit to private entities in the renewable space. Talk to us a little bit more about that. Is this concessional in nature? How is it truly helping, catalyzing the speed at which renewables are being acted upon in Africa?
Some of the initiatives that we've seen happening on the continent can be attributed to the partnerships the Stanbic Bank Group has done. So they have embarked on a number of revolutionary initiatives in renewable financing. We've got initiatives in Nigeria, Botswana, in South Africa itself that promote and actually deliver financing. And yes, I think you can attribute some concession. I mean, if you're going to deliver the impact that comes from delivering renewable energy, that's got to be a good thing for the environment, and therefore you should be able to give some credit to the organizations that are actually taking part in these facilities. And so there's quite a number of examples, and Stanbic Bank Group has pioneered green bonds. They've actually worked with the likes of the city of Johannesburg in some of those initiatives in terms of financing some of the impactful projects in the community. They've worked with organizations in Nigeria as well and delivered a green bond initiative there as well, and some offshore green facilities. So quite a number, and I'm proud to be part of a group that's been at the forefront of leading this side of innovation in delivering in what is required to deliver to climate change, because we have to make a change. This is our home, and so therefore we need to work to make sure that we deliver. And if that means the clients that we partner with in this, that impacts pricing, then I think that is going to be a natural course of what will happen in these ventures.
So are you saying that depending on the performance of these entities that get to access this finance, would you be able to see how finance would flow from your clients to them?
Yeah, and I think what normally happens is you agree on what criteria you're going to use that will meet the green initiatives and the green impact that you need, which is, i.e., for example, if you're going to be embarking in an agricultural venture, what activities and what efficiency measures is that organization uses? Water utilization. And I think with the theme of last year's COP27 coming into 26 coming into 27, the theme has been around water. So how are organizations that we're partnering with using water efficiently? And that's got to be something that has to be put in the conditions of the facilities that we're delivering and measured to say, are they complying to the concessional pricing that may have been provided in that respect.
Interesting. So you're kind of considering this to be a two-way street situation. Also, it takes into account the fact that the last IPCC report said that all financial institutions should now integrate climate impact into their decision making, which is precisely what you are saying you're doing.
Sorry to cut you short, but in Stanbic Zambia itself, when we do assess facilities, particularly those that have an impact on the environment, those are some of the boxes that we need to tick. What is the client going to deliver with regards to mitigating risks, managing risks, and also where we also avoid certain risks altogether? So we have built that expertise in Zambia, at Stanbic Zambia. In addition to that, we also pull in the expertise that we can get from a group-wide perspective, who have the benefit of experience across Africa in delivering these type of projects.
Interesting that you mentioned risks and de-risking it for the investor. That is constantly being debated in Africa when it comes to private sector investment, is how one can de-risk the nature of renewables in Africa, considering how infrastructure is still in a nascent stage in many parts of it, and some places it's much better. So, and another aspect of this I would like to understand is when you speak of these giant green bonds and access to finances, what is the what are the kind of companies that get access to it? Is there a certain level of diversity you are aiming for, so that you can really penetrate this market and help it grow in a more comprehensive way rather than just focusing in silos?
Yeah, and I think by the nature of how corporates operate, they operate in a wholesale manner, so they have the largest impact on an environment as compared to a small company that may be delivering on a small scale. So because of the impact that large corporates have, that is where you're going to get the biggest impact, even from delivering on the climate change agenda. If I look at a mining company, the mining company's impact just stretches across vast areas of a country. So it stretches into the social fabric of the country, it stretches the economic fabric, its contribution to that country's GDP. So that is where, if you get large corporates putting out that they are going to deliver in terms of some of these initiatives that will do less damage on the environment, that is where you're going to get the biggest impact. So if you're looking at a mining company that's looking at how it uses energy, I've got a great example of a great mining company in Zambia that has started bringing in wind power. And what they do is, in certain aspects of mining, they have been utilizing energy delivered from wind power, and then they just reserve the energy from the grid, which is predominantly from hydro. That is preserved from the intense mining, because you need security as well. So it's not an area where you can just overnight rip off like a Band-Aid and go into renewables, but where you can gradually start de-risking and bringing in the renewable energy in certain aspects of your operations. That is the road already to greening your operations. So you see that in the mining companies, and we've got great examples of that. First Quantum, I think it's okay to mention that. First Quantum Mines is already on that path. When you look at the agricultural sector as well, how do we efficiently use water? What technologies are we using? And that's where technology.
Well, I think when it comes to management of resources, I completely agree with you. When it comes to the bigger players of all of these sectors, whether it is energy or agriculture or mining in this case. But I do feel the small guy plays a mega role in this. And as far as the big guys are concerned, it should be more on the taxation end, whether it is at the consumer level or the production level. I think both of those regions need to be looked into when it comes to the bigger players across all of these carbon-intensive sectors. Coming to the agriculture question, Hellen, how is Stanbic involved in making that green and mechanized in Zambia?
Okay, so what we normally do is, with the partnerships that we have with our clients, around funding. Some of those aspects that we look at is how are they operating? How is the Zambia Energy Management Agency? The Zambia Environmental Management Agency, have they looked into the operation? So they need to get a license in certain activities. So we need to see that, and we also need to look at some of the measures as part of the Stanbic Bank Group that we have also said these things matter, and these things are and these items that we're taking off on this list before we provide funding, that those things are non-negotiable in terms of the operations. So when we look at certain facilities that will impact certain facilities in the agriculture sector, we have our in-house expertise before we sign off anything, that we look that those things are being done. And on an annual basis, or more frequently if necessary, the need to go in and do some of those audits. ZEMA, which is the Zambia Environmental Management Agency, they already make those requirements. They already insist that those requirements are put in place and are audited from time to time, be it annual or whatever the time frame is agreed with that entity. So those become criteria for borrowing.
There you have it, mixed financial solutions for the emerging markets of Africa, and to enable the renewable sector in each of these countries with multilateral support and working with governments. This was with Hellen Labamba, the head of corporate and investment at Stanbic Zambia.